Terrible Beauty, a reckoning with climate complicity and rediscovering our soul by Auden Chandler. Who is Auden Chandler? Auden Chandler spent 26 years running sustainability programs at Aspen One, which operates ski resorts, hotels, restaurants, and retail stores. He focuses on scale solutions to climate change, including clean energy development, policy, advocacy, movement building, and activism. Along with Protect Our Winters, where he served on the board for a decade, he is working to mobilize the outdoor industry as a political force. Previously a research associate at Rocky Mountain Institute, RMI, he is author of the new book, Terrible Beauty, Reckoning with Climate Complicity and Rediscovering Our Soul, and Getting Green Done, Hard Truths from the Front Lines of the Sustainability Revolution, which climatologist James Hansen called an antidote to greenwash. He was named a climate innovator by Time magazine and a climate saver by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Auden served on Colorado's Air Quality Control Commission, where he developed state climate policy, and between 2016 and 2020, he was elected to the Town Council of Basalt, Colorado. An avid outdoorsman and dirtbag, he has climbed Denali, America's highest peak, kayaked the Grand Canyon in winter, and twice ascended Mount Rainier's Liberty Ridge, the first time terrified, the second competently. Let's go back to the book sample. Chapter 2, A Hole and a Door. The problem with this sustainable business thesis. I went down to the bowels of the five-star Little Nell Hotel in Aspen to visit Chief Engineer Mark. On my way, I passed catering trays stocked with foie gras, black-jacketed wait staff moving out flutes of champagne on silver trays, and 3 or 4 accountants buried in low-ceilinged rooms with looks of creeping desperation. I don't think Mark, past middle age, white-haired, sardonic, was ever eager to see me, the sustainability guy at Aspen Skiing Company, then the parent company that owns the Nell. We environmentalists are notoriously pains in the ass, especially for an understaffed, near retirement Irishman like Mark, who's just trying to keep the lights on for incredibly high maintenance guests. But Mark instead always accepted my visits genially, if perhaps out of obligation, the way anyone with real work deals with management muckety mucks. My job, energy efficiency, clean energy, carbon footprint reduction, public policy, must have seemed ancillary to him because, well, it was. If you don't know the five-star hotel world, you can't fathom it. The level of attention required to maintain those stars is mind-boggling. 24/7 room service, multiple sommeliers to ensure that the right Prosecco pairs with your prosciutto and cantaloupe. Mark's job, first and foremost, was to make sure the place ran. Heat and air conditioning for guests, hot showers on demand, functional plumbing. Code brown, a clogged toilet. That responsibility alone was not easy. Hotels are complex systems, and a lot can go wrong. If they do, and the guest without hot water is maybe the Sultan of Brunei paying tens of thousands of dollars for a week's visit in the Pape Suite overlooking Aspen Mountain, well, you've got a problem. So, when I came down unannounced with another distraction of an energy project, another lighting retrofit, computerized building controls, improved boilers, he might understandably feel put upon. At the same time, though, Mark was a funny guy who enjoyed life. The place I found him most often outside the office was the Tipsy Trout Bar and Grill in the town of Basalt, a watering hole on his way home, drinking Coors Banquet beer. That's where his Buddha nature was revealed. An old school pub guy, unwinding with the boys after work almost any time I happened to pass through. Once, when I asked him for a headshot I could use in our internal environmental newsletter, he sent me a picture of himself sitting at his cramped basement desk, apparently holding a pencil and working away on some purchase order. Looks like you're working for a change, I offered. Take a look at the hand I'm writing with, he said. I looked. There was no pencil in it. After 15 years of energy work, I was visiting Mark again to probe him for any new projects he could possibly think of that might save us a bit more energy. The nail was by far the biggest energy hog in our company's fleet of buildings. And the more we could save on heat, light, pumping, and ventilation, the more money we could drop to the bottom line, the more carbon pollution we could keep out of the air, and the more we could tell a semi-positive story of sustainable business to guests, the media, and the world. But we had already done a lot. In fact, we had done more than most businesses. We changed out every light bulb in the place, from hallways to the garage, even finding efficient versions of the little flame-shaped bulbs for the weird candelabras in the ballroom, switching from incandescents and even fluorescents to LEDs. We had replaced the boilers, ancient gas units running at 60% efficiency, with modern condensing boilers that can run at higher than 95% efficiency. We had installed a new roof and a 250,000 computerized building automation system that helped Mark, as he liked to say, turn shit off and down. The most effective way to save energy. And We had even put a few solar panels on the roof and tied it to the fanciest room so people could see how much energy was being produced each day. A door. Mark, I said, what are we missing? Are there ways you could save energy here that we haven't thought of? What stuff have you always wanted to do that you need funding for? He paused, leaned back in his chair, put his hands behind his head, and said, yeah, you could put a door on the garage. A door. It was outrageous. In the absurd simplicity and unexpectedness of his answer, I thought of the ship captain in Apocalypse Now. When hit with a spear, he grabs it and says, quizzically, semi-understandingly, a spear. Nell has an underground heated garage. It's where valets park the Porsches and Bentleys. It has two levels, and it was the site of one of our first sustainability triumphs, a lightning retrofit that annually saved 10,000 on a 20,000 investment. The project improved light quality while cutting wattage 75%, and even more later as bulb technology improved. That project was the great vision of sustainable business realized, a measure that saved money, cut carbon emissions, and improved performance. It was the sort of project that drove the entire nascent sustainability movement in the early 1990s when I began this work. The idea, if projects like that exist that save money while protecting the climate, then business is going to lead the charge on the climate fix. Because after all, business people are hugely motivated by that kind of profit opportunity, aren't they? Still, a door. After 15 years, we had not thought of a door. In fact, it gets better. The place you would put a door would be at the top of the garage. That meant that for the history of the hotel, which had been built in 1989, heated air had been venting out a de facto chimney, as if you would simply left your kitchen, as if you had simply left your kitchen window open year round and compensated for it by cranking the oven. The hot air represented energy and carbon pollution, since the heat came from natural gas. It also represented money, as we reheated incoming air and then let it leak out again into the often sub-zero nights in 8,000-foot Aspen, Colorado. The practice was costing us money, not an outstanding amount, but every day and every night for decades. For all the tech involved with energy efficiency, what Mark was proposing was decidedly low tech. He was fixing a building failure known as a hole with an energy saving technology known as a door. It took a while, but we eventually installed a sweet insulated overhead door. And you could look at this story as a victory. Years of energy efficiency work plus a developing, Mark might say blossoming relationship between the sustainability guy and the hotel engineer led to even more savings. And who knows what other big opportunities remain.